All right, first things first. Team sunrise, team sunset. Leave a comment down below, see who wins. Today, we're talking about sunrise, sunset photography, the two times that just, every single day we get the best light, I think, to take the best photos. A lot of times these are conflated, right? A lot of times people think, oh, I can get the same thing at sunrise that I can get at sunset. Golden hour, blue hour, aren't they both there? And then can't I just choose sunrise or sunset? If it were that easy, I don't think I'd be making this video. We wouldn't be making this video right now. You would not be here right now if sunrise and sunset were the same thing. So in this video, I want to talk about 3 of the key differences between sunrise and sunset to think about with your photography, because I think this will change how you photograph or how you think about a photograph in a particular place at a particular time. All right, so getting right into it, the first topic that we should talk about is composition, because composition is like location for real estate. Composition is for photography. Here, a lot of people say photography is all about light, and that's sort of correct, but it's actually not, because where you get your light from and how your light lights a scene, that is everything. That is composition. So hopefully all of us know this, is that the sun rises in the east, sets in the west, at least on this planet. And so right off the bat, we have a key difference in sunrise versus sunset photography. Where that light is coming from may change how you shape up a shot at a particular location. If you're on the west coast of the Americas, taking a sunset shot over the water or even at the water, you're gonna be going right into the sun. Now you can make some cool shots with that, but that's gonna be a completely different scene than if you're shooting sunrise on the west coast of the Americas or over a large body of water, something where you're trying to frame up your particular composition. And that could be the difference between silhouetting the subject in your scene or actually having it fully lit with that natural, beautiful light. All of those things are important to think about when you're gonna go take a photograph. So if you're team sunrise, maybe you wanna go back to a particular location and see, hey, what does this look like at sunset? Can I even imagine preemptively, if I go to my favorite sunset place to take a shot, what would it look like if sunrise was there? Would I change the direction of my camera? Would I change how I frame a particular shot? It's something you should definitely think about. I know for me, in this particular shot where I was shooting out at Bandon, Oregon on an Oregon coast trip that we took a couple years ago, I had been to this place before. I knew sunset was coming. I knew how I wanted to frame up this particular shot. I got the shot that I wanted because I could think about that composition. I could think about where that light was coming from. I love how just that little kiss of orange light is coming up off the top of this rock out in the water. That's what understanding composition, understanding where that key light of the sun is going to be. This scene would look entirely different, and I probably wouldn't shoot it at sunrise, at least not how I would envision it in my head. The second key thing to think about with sunrise and sunset is the difference in blue hour to golden hour, which happens in the morning, versus golden hour to blue hour, which is what happens in the evening with your sunset. Because the earth gets colder where the sun has not been shining for however long night has been, you can typically get marine layers if you're out on the coast, or if you're even inland in the mountains, you can get dense fog, and that can really ruin a shot. But what also you can get out of that in the morning is an inversion, which can look, I think, really cool. But that's something that you got to think about. You're typically not going to see an inversion at sunset because the sun's been beating down on a very now warmed part of the planet, and you're going to have that sort of flip back to where if you do have a cloud layer that's sort of hanging out in the sky, that can be really cool for painting a sky, right? If you just got some rain and now you have some dispersing clouds, that's where you can get a lot of color. But that's a perfect example of why sunrise and sunset are not the same thing. They're totally different things, because you can get these different atmospheric elements along with the progression of light. So take for instance this photo that I love from last year. It's probably my favorite photo that I took last year. This photo of Mount Adams from Oregon shooting into Washington State. Gotta love the PNW. This photo is not possible at sunset. If you look closely, you can see there's an inversion that's underneath the peak of this mountain, right? You got the golden flares kind of up on the top, but still that blue light that's coming down on the bottom. I just love this shot. I love this shot. So this is something you can think about when you're shooting. If you like shooting golden hour, why not shoot in the morning where you can actually get a warm up during blue hour, and then you're taking your best shots hopefully at golden hour, versus feeling like you're warming up at sunset in the evening And then now you're kind of like, all right, I'm not as excited about blue hour. So, you know, that's the way I see it. If I want to warm up for blue hour, I'm gonna go out and shoot sunset, because then I can go shoot all that golden hour stuff. That stuff looks great too. And then I can start shooting blue hour stuff. And so that's a great way to think about, like, oh, hey, how can I use the differences between sunrise and sunset to my advantage in like what I'm trying to shoot? Or if I have a long hike, a long drive to get to where I'm going to be shooting, how can I use that time accordingly to get the most out of all the light that's gonna be produced from that sunrise or that sunset? And finally, the biggest thing that I think a lot of people don't think about when they're thinking about sunrise or sunset is actual twilight, which is this time where the sun is not visible, but its light is actually still kind of pouring over your landscape. There's 3 different types of twilight. There's civil, nautical, and astronomical. I'm not gonna get into that in this particular video. Though I was surprised, like there's actually, even here in like the Pacific Northwest, like the very northern peaks of Washington State, I think we stay in astronomical twilight for something insane. Like I think there's actually a whole day where we're in astronomical twilight, or I guess a whole night. I am not an astronomer, but how cool would that be if I was? Maybe I will be one day. That'd be sick. But understanding twilight is important, because if you're traveling somewhere where you're gonna actually have a long period in suspended twilight, depending on what kind of twilight it is, that may change the game for how you photograph. Twilight is a part of this whole phenomenon that you get where, hey, if you move closer to the poles on the planet, you're gonna have a longer, more like elongated sunrise sunset or shortened sunrise sunset, depending on the seasonality because of the Earth's tilt. All of that is contributing to the light that's coming into your scene and subject. As someone who regularly goes from the Pacific Northwest up here on the border between Canada and the United States, all the way down to Mexico City and nearing the border of like Mexico and Guatemala, I deal with this all the time, a couple times a year at least. Like this happens to me where I'm like, oh yes, that's right, sunset is going to happen at like 10 p.m. up here in the PNW, or nope, sunrise is gonna happen always at the same time, basically in Mexico City. Like thinking through those things can sometimes be, it can be a lot. It's sort of like a whole other deal with jet lag. I don't know why it like blows my mind sometimes. It should blow our minds. We're out on a rock in the middle of space. Like just let stuff blow your mind. But I think the way that you can look at this proactively is if you're traveling somewhere and you know you're gonna be taking photos there, look at what time sunrise and sunset are. Try to figure out how long is twilight, how long will you have some of that blue hour light, or how much time will you have to burn until you get to the golden hour, depending on sunrise, sunset. And then if you know you have particular shots or particular hikes, walks, whatever, plan in that twilight hour along with your sunrise, sunset times. And now all of a sudden you have a complete understanding of your location that you're gonna go shoot at, even if you've never been there before, which I think is very powerful. If you know you wanna get a particular shot in a particular location, understanding those lighting conditions, understanding sort of the timing of all of that, of twilight, sunrise, sunset, I think this allows you to set yourself up for success to take the best shot possible. So those are my 3 differences, the 3 big differences I think between sunrise and sunset, and how to think about those both differently, uniquely, to get the most out of each of those events. Leave a comment down below which one of these points was most interesting to you or something you hadn't considered or thought about before. And I would be stoked to see all of your sunrise and sunset photos. So make sure you hit me up on Instagram, Glass, Twitter, even right here in the YouTube comments. I love checking out your guys' photography. So make sure you say hi with that. Can you guys tell that like I don't know what I have. I don't feel sick. Don't worry, I've been staying at home, but I got whatever this thing is going on with my head. Just, I don't know. Still making videos though. Nothing's gonna stop me from making videos. I may have to take little breaks here and there with the new kid and all that stuff, but I'm still making videos. With that, thank you to everyone who's watching this. You all are the best. Please subscribe to this channel if you have yet to. I'd be honored and absolutely stoked if you would. Be kind both in life and in the comments below, and like this video. Send good vibes across the internet. And we'll do it. I can't even do this outro. And we'll do it again soon. Later.